Welcome to Vegas Circle with Paki and Chris. And today, joining the circle with us, we've got Nike master trainer, yoga instructor, model, and dancer. She got a long resume. Miss Traci Copeland. So we're excited to have her in the circle today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm great.
So out in the East Coast right now, it's starting to get late out there now for you. So we appreciate you getting us on our time zone because we're 3 hours behind you. So,
of course.
So good stuff.
Yeah, where you at right now, Traci?
Right now, I'm in New York. I'm in like the epicenter of the center. Like literally,
wow.
I'm on 42nd Street. That's where my apartment is. So like I live in the middle of the madness.
Are you able to give us a little bit of a breakdown of how crazy it is over there right now?
Yeah, I literally just drove up here today from Maryland. I've been like quarantining between Seattle and Maryland, only making my way back east because I'm about to move to the West Coast. But I left New York just because New York is a very tricky place when things get a little bit hectic and you live in an apartment building. You have to get in an elevator. There's always at least 4 people in the elevator. I live in a building that has about 800 units. So yeah, it's pretty hectic and everybody's wearing a mask right now. I went for a run as soon as I got back because I was just like, I was literally in shock. I've never seen the city like this.
Yeah.
And I've been a New Yorker for 18 years and I drove back. I rented a car because I didn't want to use public transportation and the city is just, 1, it's empty, and 2, everybody has a mask on, like no matter where you are. So even if you're just outside walking your dog, if you're just outside walking along the water, running, biking, you have a mask on. And that was strange for me to see. And I'm not sure if that's how it is with you guys in Vegas, but when I was in Maryland and Seattle, you didn't really have to wear a mask when you went for a run. And today was my first time doing my mask run. So I figure out how to breathe properly through that. So I'm just adjusting to what this lifestyle is right now, but still trying to keep a routine at the same time.
I think that's the biggest thing is the routine. Is trying to be as consistent as you can, and just kind of starting off from where you're from. So you started as a collegiate athlete, basically, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of give us your background? Because before we get into Nike and what you've been doing the last few years, but where did this all start from you? You've always been an athlete, not a dancer.
I've always been kind of a mover. Track and field. I went to Georgetown and ran track there. I was a triple jump and long jumper. So I trained with the sprinters, some occasionally trained with the middle distance runners. So I did that for 3 out of 4 years. I decided not to do it my last year because I stopped enjoying it. And you have to really, and I walked on to the team. So it was something that, I wanted to continue after high school. My dad was always an athlete and he's always telling me like, you should never walk away from anything. But at the same time, injuries were also a big part of like, I had my 3rd knee operation. So I was like, you know what, maybe this is a good time to move away from the jumping part. But I continued to run my senior year, run meaning like go for 3, 5 mile, 4 mile, 6 mile runs because I was always used to sport and I was always used to doing something after school. So you couldn't get rid of it. I couldn't get rid of it. Yeah. And that continued when I moved to New York. I worked corporate for about a year and was running here and there. But I decided to take dance class just for fun. I'd met some dance theater of Harlem dancers like out at the clubs and they're like, oh, you're a decent dancer. You should come take a dance class. I'm like, I've never taken a dance class before, number one. But I was a gymnast growing up too. So I think that kind of helped as I took my first dance class. And my first dance class was at Broadway Dance Center. And I kid you not, I was probably the worst one in the class. I could not pick up choreography to save my life. I was like, it's really tough. It's one thing if you can move to the beat and do the electric slide at a wedding, but to learn choreography. And these are like dancers that I'd see in some of, MTV's music videos and they were like the best of the best. I'm like, well, why am I taking class with these people? They're way too good.
You're very humble because you worked your way up and were touring with Jay-Z and Beyonce. I was doing my research on you. No joke. Black Eyed Peas, I saw. So.
Well, and I think you know what, even though the funny thing about dance, it was incredibly humbling. And this is what dance taught me. You could still really love something even if you are not great at it. And I really loved going to class. I loved dancing for 2-3 hours after work. It just became a hobby, a professional hobby. And then,
Sure.
you know, the choreographer was like, hey, you want to come audition for this? I'm like, oh, I have to go on my lunch break. Sure, I'll try to make it. And I didn't make like those initial gigs, but then the choreographer came to class one day and was like, hey, we're looking for a dancer for this tour. We leave in like a week. And he watched class. And then like, it was a week later, like I was literally like booked the job during the class. And then like 3 days later, I was in rehearsal. And then a week later, I was on a tour bus heading like along the East Coast and then across country.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a blast.
It was
How'd you enjoy that?
It was a tour with like Sean Paul, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, 50 Cent, Jay-Z was the headliner for it. And Beyonce would be there on a few of the shows. This is when they were first starting to date. So that Crazy in Love song, we had to dance with her and like learn choreography in her dressing room because it was like so last minute. Man, yeah. And that was, I'd say like 2004. So that was just like a, hey mom, yeah, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go on tour with Jay-Z. And she's like, who is Jay-Z?
That's no joke, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't like the name back then, but I think once you put like Beyonce next to it, she's like, "Oh, I know who Jay-Z is. That's Beyonce's man." Okay. So
that's pretty cool.
Was that what you were doing full time? That was your full gig? Was just being a professional dancer? And how long did you do that for?
I did it for about 3 years. So I did, know, and I changed my lifestyle. Like, you know, I moved to New York. I was working for Philip Morris, which is a big tobacco company.
Sure.
And I hated it. And I majored in business, so this is the route that I thought I was supposed to go. But at the time, like a lot of people that I went to college with in New York, they were leaving their investment banking jobs and pursuing other things that they really enjoyed doing. So I kind of like, I was a part of that crew that kind of like followed their passion projects. So moving to New York, I had an apartment, but like I couldn't live alone and afford like, because I was a dancer. So I had to just, get a roommate, downsize a little bit, change my lifestyle. I think I got like a part-time job doing, I was fit modeling for American Eagle Outfitters at the time. So yeah, just like random things. Like you look at they're casting here. I'm going to go there and see if I can get that job. And like I became like a hustler.
That's good. Yeah. It seemed like, but I think New York does that to you. I lived in the East Coast. It does it to you, man. You gotta, because it's moving so fast. You gotta pick up or you get left behind. So that's great to be able to make those adjustments on the fly. So so you did that for a while. What were you doing prior to Nike, or how did you get connected with them? Did they recruit you, or did you apply for a job? Because it's not like you could apply for a master trader job. You're gonna be in a lot of times. That doesn't just pop up. So.
So prior to dancing, I decided to get certified. I loved fitness. I loved staying in shape. And I think somebody reached out. It was one of the magazines. It was like Women's Health magazine. They'd gotten my contact somehow randomly. And they're like, hey, we'd love for you to come in for an audition. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And it was for like a fitness story spread. And I didn't book that one, but then they called me for another one, and I ended up booking it. And then I kept working a lot with them and Runner's World and Shape and all these fitness magazines. And so like they would use me for certain things. And then I'm like, wow, I should probably I'm in fitness. I feel like I should work in fitness too. So like I was starting to really enjoy yoga at the time. So I got certified in yoga. I started to get certified in group fitness just as something to do on the side, because I was already going to class. And so I started teaching at small studios, like Strala Yoga was the first one. That was where I got certified in yoga. And then one of the agency that represents me for fitness modeling, they reached out and said, hey, Nike wants to see you. They're auditioning trainers for their New York division. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. They're never going to cast me. Like, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, really? Nike wants to look at me? I'm like, yeah, okay. I had 2 auditions that day. One for Real Simple magazine, which is like a, I don't know, like a home and interior type of magazine. Sometimes they do small workouts. So I had that audition, which I had already worked with them before. So I was like, okay, I probably will maybe book the Real Simple one if they, want to use me again. And then I had Nike, and there were probably like 50 people in front of me, like on the sign-in sheet. I was like, oh man,
it's intense. Yeah, it's intense.
Like, I don't know. And you see the people waiting, and they're like bringing their own like battle ropes and dumbbells things, and I'm like, I didn't bring anything, and I felt like there's no way. And so I signed in, and I left, and then I came back, and then they saw me, and then they interviewed me, like, probably 6 people in a room, maybe even more. They took some photos. They just basically talked to me, asked me, what I enjoy doing in terms of fitness, the types of classes I like to take, the type of classes I like to teach. And then they took some, more photos, and that was it. And then my agent called and was like, great job at Nike. I think they liked you. I'm like, really? Yeah. And then it was like 3 days later, like, oh yeah, you booked it. I'm like, book what? What did I book? Because what does it even mean? Like working with Nike as a trainer, because they were still figuring it out,
Wow.
They're still building it. So I think it was like, hey, let's have a team in place so that when we're ready, we can like go full out sort of thing.
Are you one of 14 trainers in North America? Is that what I was reading? That's elite.
Yeah, right now I think it's about 14. There might be a few more, but yeah. At first in New York, there were 2 master trainers, and now there's, let's see, I want to say there's close to 8 or 9.
Okay.
In New York. And then, yeah, most of them are in New York because you have a lot of, I guess, just people produce like a lot of high clientele.
Sure. Yeah.
Just for clarification, what is a master trainer? What is it? What does that title entail?
That's a really good question. I think it's different for everybody. Basically, it means that the brand relies on you for, it could be content, it could be photo shoots, it could be teaching a workout to kids, it could be teaching a workout to employees, it could be teaching a workout on the app, or it could be teaching a workout on YouTube, NTC.
Sure.
It's kind of like a range of things. Like it's been anything from like creating a workout plan for a group of editors at different magazines during the Olympic trials, and then taking them to the Olympic trials, and then later taking them to the Olympics in Rio and training them. So like it really,
that's awesome.
They rely on us for a lot of different things depending on your skill set. So I think for me, my background is dance and running and training. It ends up being like a mixture of a lot of different things. So that way they can pull one person, be like, okay, we'll send Traci here because she could do X, Y, Z,
And you really exploded that virtual training. Like I saw your last video, man, you get over 1 million views on your virtual training. I said, Jesus, the real deal.
Well, that's also the power of Nike. So yeah, I can't take full responsibility.
It's still awesome. Yeah, that's still awesome. I saw the training. Are you guys rolling that out where it's going to be a consistent, setup where it's weekly, open to the public, or is it? How's that going to work out?
So the YouTube right now, the YouTube NTC Live is open to the public. You basically just go to Nike's page, and the workout starts typically at 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 Pacific time. As far as weekly, it is as far as I know. I don't know like the full plan. All I know is like kind of how it related to my window of time. And I know we started, that was probably like the 7th week that they did it. And it's a big production because they have to send you the camera, they have to send you the audio, they have to send you the mic. You have to. It takes a bit of rehearsal and versus just setting your iPhone up and like hoping that it works. Like it's not like that at all. It takes like that particular workout for me took probably a good 15 hours of work before it went live. So like because there's just so many different levels of making sure that people need to sign off on it. Is it a good workout? Are people going to sweat from it? Is it age appropriate? Is the music good? Like it's working with the DJ to make sure that the DJ has the right music to match the workout. And And then it's like, do you have the proper setup in your apartment or house? And luckily, I'm at my parents' place, which is bigger than my New York 1-bedroom apartment. So, I have a little bit more space to spread out, and, we just made it work. And I think they're experimenting with diversity of different types of workouts. So you see Joe Holder did something last week, which was more running inspired. They're probably going to add some yoga into the mix at some point, but I don't necessarily get the full plan because I'm not technically a Nike employee, so I'm not a part of the strategy behind that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this virtual world? Because now it's a whole different world now. How do you feel about being virtual or being on camera and with a whole different section? You're not feeling the energy of the room, so it changes.
Yeah, that part is tough, but I think it's almost better in some ways. It's a little bit weird, especially for dance. I think dance, especially, people they're not comfortable showing what they look like dancing. So, being in a virtual world and like turning off your screen is like a really great thing for a lot of people. You can't.
Yeah, I'll definitely be more likely to dance by myself than in a group.
Exactly.
So to embarrass yourself.
Yeah. So, but it's
not Paki though. Paki loves it.
No, not at that level. No, I'll stay at home with the camera off. You're gonna catch you on the TikTok. Yeah, catch you on the TikTok videos. So I'm good.
Yeah.
No, because it's amazing. I mean, that's what we've been seeing so much of. I mean, it's like this virtual world is just absolutely exploded. It's unbelievable what, for example, not to change a little bit. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about music earlier, but I mean, just the verses, for example, what Swiss and Timbaland are doing, with verses being a virtual world of, musicians. I don't want to say they're battling each other because it's more of a fun setup, but now with everything being virtual, now with everybody being at home, and especially something that I was seeing today, everybody's gained so much weight, you know what I mean? Because they've been at home. Man, I was hearing today. It was making me feel better. I said, "What am I doing?" I said, "I've been working out every day, but how the heck am I gaining all this weight? It's because of the carbs and all that crap. It's crazy. How in the world are you able to stay so fit? And are you dieting or what are you doing?"
I mean, it really changes where I am. I actually do a vegan delivery service called Purple Carrot.
Nikkei was telling me about Purple Carrot. I got to jump on that. Your girl Nikkei, I got to give her a shout out. She was telling me about it. Her and Elliot. Yep.
Exactly. I've been doing Purple Carrot for over a year, and they have 3 meals a week and 2 servings, and like wherever I am, it ends up being like a really good quality meal. Obviously, you have to get things. In addition, I'm not completely vegan.
Sure.
I just enjoy vegan food a lot, but I
feel
like
better. I mean, Nikkei was telling me you feel so much better when you're eating it. Yeah, and I know Chris knows a lot about the vegan style. He used to do that.
I used to, not no more, Paki. Yeah. That was a different time in my life.
I made Beyond Burgers with my mom the other night, and
those are good.
So they were so good. Yeah, she's not even vegan or anything. She's like, "Oh, this is really good," and it doesn't, feel down, and it's like tastes like beef. And my dad's like, "I just want the beef."
Yeah.
So yeah.
I saw John Sally. Was a big vegan person. Very big spokesman for vegan. And I've been listening to him for years on how he's been talking about, how your diet, it's not so much a diet, it's more of a lifestyle change if you're consistent with the lifestyle change. But, as you get older, you try to figure out how do you make those adjustments. It's wild. So tell me something. I know you had injuries. Do you think yoga has really helped you? I know mind-wise, stress, things like that, because I know you tore your ACL, right? Back in the day?
Yeah.
That's a bad injury. That's a very bad injury.
Yeah, I tore that when I was like 13 years old. So I was a kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, from gymnastics. I just landed wrong on a tumbling pass. And I've had 2 surgeries since then, not ACL related, but just like meniscus and cartilage tears. Yeah, I think it's more like whenever you have an injury, it's like you figure out how to adjust and like work around it a little bit. It has its positives and negatives because what happens is typically when you're stronger, you know how to work around it. So you know how to continue to work with it versus
play hurt. You used to playing hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're strong enough, you don't really feel it. Like, oh, this is normal. Okay.
Sure.
Like I've run a few like marathons or half marathons, and I've since the surgeries. But I think yoga, from the moment I started taking vinyasa yoga, that style, that definitely helped a lot because it created more of a symmetry between my right and left side, and it has like the mindful and spiritual aspects of it too. But definitely, it changed how I was able to run and dance. I felt so much stronger. So without yoga, I don't think I would have been able to do half the things I do now.
No, I'm glad you said that, because we talk a lot about it. And do you think it's because you're being present is one of the biggest things with the mindfulness and being present in the breathing? You know, a lot of the breathing can help out a lot, especially during these times. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because obviously we're in these quarantine times, a lot of people are stressed out, you know, and they're trying to figure out other ways to kind of get their mind, because they got the, you know, kids or being at the house and stressed with jobs and things. It seems like yoga is just such a great alternative or something to add to what you're already doing. You know?
It is. And it's always like yoga. The good thing about yoga is that it's not going anywhere. And it's been around for centuries. It's only, you know, within the last, you know, I would say like 15 years, we've really seen like, oh, yoga is cool, and like get the right leggings and like get the right studio. And all of a sudden it became a thing that like you have to pay $30 for a class. You know, that's not yoga. Yoga should be for everybody, whether you are LeBron James or you are, you know, a girl in Malibu on a mat doing an inversion. So I think there's a spectrum in it. The benefits apply for everybody. I think you go, at least for me, I went through stages of my yoga, like how I taught yoga, because I think it's easy when you do a lot of something. It's like, you got to try this. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. But people, they can't take it that way. They have to come to it when they are ready. And then they're like, oh, this is great. Like,
it's patience. It's patience. I did yoga years ago that I just got back into it. That's the main thing, is you got to be very patient. Calm yourself down.
Yeah, and I think it teaches you how to breathe. It teaches you how to acknowledge like what's happening in your body. You can scan your body. But yeah, there's so many benefits beyond the physical. I'd say more recently I've been focusing on like just the mental aspect and like teaching people how to breathe properly, you know, especially now because, you know, everything is about your breath.
Yeah, you ain't lying. With the N95 mask, you can't even breathe after this.
I can barely breathe running in this thing.
Speaking of yoga and like Zen and things, I mean, I got to ask you, have you been watching The Last Dance that just finished up?
Yes, I just finished it. Last night's episode was emotional for me.
Yeah, man. It made me think of it because of Phil Jackson and the Zen and all the things that he was doing in yoga and everything. You start to hear, you know, years later what they were doing to kind of keep the sanity of the pressure of your body. I mean, I know you being an elite athlete, it's like the pressures of how tired and fatigued you are and all the other things that you're doing for the mindfulness. You can see why, you know, Phil Jackson was that. I don't know, what do you call him? I don't even know. He's more than a coach. So did you get a chance to work with him at all, working with Nike at all?
That would have been nice. I walked past his, there's like a whole side of campus that is like devoted to him. They have buildings named after elite athletes. So I think the last time I was there, they were like building something for LeBron. Serena's getting her own. Yeah, it's crazy. Jerry Rice.
I mean, you hitting all the big time. I mean, Jerry, all of those names, unbelievable.
Tiger Woods has his own. Yeah, it's just like you talk to people, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm in Tiger Woods building. That's where my office is." And just like,
awesome.
It's just the lifestyle.
How does that feel? I mean, that's got to be. I mean, Nike's one of my favorite companies. How does that feel to be able to be in that? I mean, such huge. Because I mean, maybe think about it when you saw The Last Dance, when you saw how big Michael Jordan was overseas. I mean, he changed the game with shoes and. People were wearing shoes just for basketball. Now they were wearing them for casual use, and he changed that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know we'll talk a little bit. I know you got an ill shoe collection because I saw your Nikes. But how does that feel to be able to see, you know, the caliber of athletes that work with Nike. Is there also any athletes that you've worked with that you really enjoyed working with? Working with Nike?
Yeah, there's been a few. Let's see. I've never worked with Serena Williams, although, I mean, she's been at a lot of the events that I've had to go to. Maria Sharapova, we did a shoot together about, when I first like signed with Nike. And that was like one of my first big projects. And here I am at a photo shoot, and like she's right next to me, and like she's so tall and glamorous, and we're like, you know, it's a Nike shoot, so you can't fake it. So everything you do, like you're actually working out. So we were doing like agility drills, and like they're like, keep going. And she's like, you know what, I have to stop. Like they need to know. Like we are human. This is not like something that we can't just keep going. And she'd already been shot earlier that day, so she had a long day. But I was like, thank you for saying that, because I was ready to stop too. So that was a lot of fun. Just being next to her and next to her greatness, and just being not just next to her, but like being in the same photo shoot with her. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, a few months later, like I'm in like a shot, like in Nike stores, just like doing skater hops with Maria Sharapova. And I'm just like, what? How did this even happen? Katherine Johnson Thompson, she's the heptathlete that won the Olympic gold, I believe, in Rio.
Okay. Awesome.
Worked with her. I've worked with, let's see, another heptathlete, a lot of runners. I tend to work with some runners, female athletes, because they like to tell stories about the female athlete. And so whenever I work with them, it's not necessarily I'm in the photo shoot with them, but it's more like I'm the trainer on set to make sure that they feel comfortable, and I'll kind of give them a few moves that they can do for camera. So I end up being like their movement coach. Let's see. Haven't met Tiger, not Michael. I think Kipche. He broke the 2-hour marathon.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. Kenyan. Joan Benoit Samuelson. She's the first female marathoner. Won the gold in LA. She's probably in her late 60s right now. She was in Rio, and we've done like some like workouts together. But also Nike sponsors entertainers too. So I did something with Jessie J in London. So yeah, I think it just like it really ranges, like the spectrum.
How did you get connected with Kevin Hart? 'Cause I saw you did the run with Hart, right? In New York? Is that was in New York, wasn't it? Or was that Baltimore?
That was in New York. In New York. Yeah.
How did you get connected with him? Because that seemed like that was a great movement that he was doing, just getting people just to get back.
Yeah.
I love the concept. Honestly, I can see why Nike brought him in, just because he's so fun. But
yeah, he's so funny.
Yeah, I met him years ago. He's just a fun guy, man. Very, very fun guy.
Yeah, Kevin Hart, Nike has been working with him for a few years now. I think he started with the running, and then they brought him into training. So they came up with the idea. I think it was around New Year's, like train with Hart. So we had like New Year's Day, I think, or the day after New Year's Day, workout with like, must have been like 500 people in New York, like some massive venue in Midtown. And it was really, really cool. He was doing the workout, and he was telling jokes at the same time. And
keep the energy light. That's good. Yeah.
So it ended up being like, you know, me and another trainer and him on stage, like kind of hosting this group of like 500 some people in a massive workout. So it's like, it's hard to say. You have to be like, okay, we have to work, but then he's also telling jokes too. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, you forget about like things like that, and it's not because like you dismiss it or anything. It's just I think at least for me as a trainer, it's just you can't harp on those moments. Like that was great, it happened. Okay, cool. Moving on.
What's next? You got a great mindset. Yeah. What's next?
Yeah. That was like, you can't hold on, like good or bad. You can't hold on to it for too long, because that moment isn't gonna last. That's a great memory, for sure.
What do you think is the greatest thing that you've, like, I guess, nugget from working with Nike? Like, what do you think is something that impact? Maybe it's an athlete, maybe it's branding. What's something that stood out to you?
For me, it's just being able to connect with everybody. So you see kids, like I've been working a lot with kids lately.
That's great.
Before this stuff happened, I work on photo shoots with like kids from anywhere from like 8 to 12 years old, and get them playing soccer or basketball, because they're like the next generations of athletes. It's fun to see them be so natural and authentic. That part lately has been a really fun part of the job. But it's also been fun to be behind the scenes and like help cast who is the faces of Nike, you know, as someone of color. And I remember working on a bra campaign, sports bra campaign, behind the scenes. And like, for when I say cast, it's making sure that they can do the moves. Like, can they do the yoga? Can they jump? Are they agile? Like, can they run? You know, so like I'll go to the casting to like, okay, yeah, they hit this, and then Nike can decide if they have the right look. And one campaign we ended up casting, like, you know, out of 5 girls, probably like 4 out of 5 were Black or brown. And I was like, wow, this
changing it. Yeah, it's changing the look of everything. Yep.
This doesn't happen very often. I had to take a step back and be like, wow, we did something.
That's powerful. Yeah, it's powerful, especially with, you know, with what Nike's been able to do and be able to back, you know, people like Colin Kaepernick, which is another just unbelievable thing that you would think they put, you know, behind that. I mean, it's unbelievable. So.
But it's that changing the face, and then when it comes to kids, it's when they see somebody who looks like them playing basketball or playing soccer, and even as it relates to different sizes, you know, in kids, in women. So you have plus size models, you know, non-straight sizing. So I think it's just showing the diversity in
love that. Yeah.
In everybody, because like you have athletes are not stick figure models, you know, and Nike has been really good, at least from my perspective, you know, like I'm not speaking on behalf of Nike, speaking on behalf of myself, but like,
no, that's real. No, yeah.
Yeah. It's just seeing that they are staying true to, you know, Serena Williams, you know, she's not a size 2, you know, and we have to be able to show that in our ad, you know? So I think I respect that a lot. And I think, so in terms of like nuggets that I've taken from Nike, it's been the fact that they've been able to connect with diversity of different talent, whether it's different body types, different ethnicities, and just, you know, being a little bit more connected to kids, because that's the next generation of talent.
I agree with you 100%. And they're looking up. It's so cool that you said that, because they're all looking up to athletes too. I mean, the kids are looking up to it, and then looking up to people like yourself that are, you know, paving the way and being positive and being successful and being able to adapt. I mean, it's just awesome. What do you want your personal brand to represent?
That's a really good question. I think I want it to be, you know, authentic to who I am as a person. So I think when you asked me before, like, oh, that you've had like quite like a career, different things, I think that's not lack of, you know, me being bored. It's just I like a lot of different types of training. And I think, you know, as a kid growing up in Minneapolis, like I didn't just do track. Track came later because I was already a great gymnast. That gave me a platform. But I also played soccer. So I think those are all like 3 different types of training. One is about agility, one is about speed, one is about flexibility and power. So, and they weren't overstressing me. In fact, they were making me more of a complementary, well-rounded athlete. So I think if anything for my brand, it's just showing diversity.
Awesome.
Yep. So if you don't think you can run a mile, then you need to sign up for this a 5K as soon as this is over. Maybe when this is not even over, maybe you just run a 5K on your own with a mask on, do it in a safe way. So I think I just want to continue to challenge people to get outside of the box that they put themselves in, you know, because I feel like training should be a wide range of things.
That's great. I do got one personal question, because I was seeing biofreeze. I forgot to ask you about. What is biofreeze? I'm having so many back trouble. I'm trying to figure out what is that. Because you did a commercial or something. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect timing right there. And she's on the box, just so you know. So, our viewers that are looking at it, you gotta show that again. Don't try to. She's so humble, but she's on the box. Don't get it twisted.
I went to the store and I didn't. And it was right there, and I'm like,
what? And that
awesome.
honestly was not. That wasn't on purpose. That's funny that you got it. Can you tell me what in the world that is? Do you wear it when you run?
Yeah, it's like it heats up. So it's like a little patch. You can put it, I normally put it around my lower back because that's where I tend to have the most issues. But you can put it anywhere, and it's just like, it lasts, I think, up to 10 hours.
Yeah, I'm about to order that. Yeah, literally.
It heats up in that area, so it can get pretty hot. So just be careful.
Okay, I'm going to check it out for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff. What's next for you? What's on the agenda for 2020? I know you're moving to Seattle, right? That's coming up real soon.
Yeah, moving to Seattle. Move to Seattle was already happening before Corona. So I'm just like sticking to my plan and just trying to get out of New York as safely as possible, and continue to train clients, train one-on-one, teach dance, teach yoga, small group classes, and that's pretty much all I can do. Just stay connected to training. And continue to train on my own and train in ways that make me feel good. And hopefully everybody else will do the same.
Well, you're super motivating. I mean, I looked at a bunch of your videos. Definitely. I said, Jesus, yoga to all these different classes, dancing. I get my butt active. I was telling Chris, I said, man, she'll make us work our butts off, man. Try to get it right.
Yeah, maybe,
Yeah.
I watched that. I'm like, man, I have no time to do anything. And then I see you doing all these things. Like, man, I have no excuse to not do anything.
Yeah. Traci's proof you can't be lazy. So.
You guys have to come to my next yoga class or something.
I'm 100% on.
Is it entry level?
Entry level. All levels.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yoga's intimidating. I've tried a couple of times, and it's hard.
No, yoga's good, man. It's hard, but last thing I'll say is it's worth it. Chris, you gotta jump on it, man. I'm trying to continue. I'm trying to do it. My goal is 3 times a week right now. That's my goal
good
right
for
now.
That's good.
I gotta try to keep it 3 times a week. So, but Trace, it's been awesome hanging out with you, man. We gotta do this when you come to Vegas. We gotta do this in person, so we can find you in person when all the stuff calms down. So
I would definitely love that.
Where can people reach you at? If they were to look you up, where can you shout out some of your social medias and stuff?
Sure, yeah. It's Traco4. That's my Instagram handle. So it's like my first and last name kind of combined. And then I don't really use Twitter very much, but Yoga Athlete on Twitter. And then I don't think I could get on TikTok. Sorry. It's just a little too much.
I figured you'd be on there dancing. Honestly, I didn't get a chance to look it up. I figured you'd definitely be on TikTok.
Oh, man. You know what? I have to figure it out a little bit more. I'm just like, okay, how does this work? And what's this? And like the whole second thing. And I'm just like, man, I just like choreography. I don't want to just do something to like, I just want to show people.
30-second training TikTok videos. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
like,
there you go. Yeah.
I got to play around with it. I know people that love it, so maybe it's just going to take some time for me.
Yeah, you'd be perfect for it because you do so much stuff. You'd be perfect to do a TikTok. So good stuff, man. Well, I appreciate Nikkei connecting us. I know that's your girl, so appreciate hooking us up.
I appreciate the connection as well.
I appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for joining the circle, and then we're gonna have you.
Thank you, Traci.
At thevegascircle.com once we upload.
I'm gonna shoot you guys a separate email or text on a yoga class this week, so you can come join.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool.
Namaste. Namastizzle.
Yep.